and this is Jennifer, and this is Take 5 with Pet Tutor, and we're here today to talk about a blog that Jennifer has written, and the title is about fatal dog bites, and it's a new study, and she has written a very intriguing blog about this. And right off the bat, when I hear the word fatal and dog bites, that's scary stuff. People think of dogs warm and fuzzy, and they're our best friends, and they certainly don't, kill us. And that's scary. Tell me a little bit about this study.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to think of our dogs that way, do we? Yet, sometimes accidents happen and terrible accidents happen. But again, if we put that a little bit in perspective, people kill people. And there are more people killing other people than there are dogs killing people. But what was still interesting with this study is that they pointed out some of the key factors that could lead to such tragic accidents. And so it gives us ways to eventually try to prevent them.
Okay, so I'm assuming that after reading this blog that body language and just the lack of communication or interpreting of what's going on with the dogs, telling us what's happening, but we're just kind of ignoring it.
That's right. I think a lot of us assume that we know enough about dogs that we can figure them out pretty well. And so we're waiting for the growl to be an obvious sign that the dog isn't too happy about what we're doing. And there's a lot more to that. There are a lot more, signs that the dog isn't comfortable. And we have to remember that dogs don't have the ability to tell us that we're pushing them further than their comfort zone. They can't say, "Hey, human, I really need you to stop this very annoying thing that you're doing right now." And so they express themselves through body language. They get stiff. They start showing stress signals like, licking their lips, looking in another direction. So there's a number of things that happen before an actual bite. And most of the times, these bites are just like a warning syndrome, like, "Hey, stop." And if the dog was to do that to another dog, we wouldn't think anything of it.
Right.
But because our human skin is so different, we don't have the protection that they have, that leads to injuries. And most of the times, fortunately, those injuries are minimal, so it's mostly a scratch. But sometimes the dogs do break skin, and very bad accidents can happen.
So I also read that by the 12th birthday of most children, meaning 50%, they've experienced a dog bite. And that immediately makes me think of all these adorable photographs you see on social media where the dog is laying down and the child is on top and everyone's liking it, and I'm thinking to myself, I see the dog's ears back, I see how uncomfortable the dog appears just in the photograph, and I'm wondering, why do all these people think that's cute?
And you're right, the internet is full of those images, and it is scary, and we don't realize that we're putting the dog in a situation that it just doesn't necessarily have another way to express the fact that it's uncomfortable. And sometimes, there are pictures of dogs that are chained up, that are cornered, that are in a situation where they just can't get out of it. And we allow children to crawl over them, to, interact with them in ways that are very intrusive. And we don't understand that is just beyond what the dog can do.
And the bottom line is we're responsible for the socialization, for the training, for the giving the dog the best chance he has to be a healthy, happy, living in society without harming anyone, or but it really lands on us.
It absolutely lands on us. We don't have to take a dog in the first place. So let's be responsible when we get our dogs. First let's be responsible in how we acquire them, adopting them from the shelter or whether we go through a breeder. Let's look at, what the dog, whether the dog fits our lifestyle or not. And then once we have the dog in our house, let's make sure that we can properly care for it. Having a dog chained in the backyard is not proper care for a dog. That is abuse. And I think the minimum things that we need to do for dogs is take them to training classes, educate them, socialize them, keep the socialization up, exposing them to different things, to different people in a safe and positive way. Avoid harsh punishment and coercion, because those lead to stress. And really a lot of the accidents that happen because the dog is too stressed out and doesn't feel safe and feels that that's the only thing that they can do, the only outcome, the way out of a situation is to go, hey, stop.
You're right.
Yeah. So education plays a large part in preventing these bites. I wish we had more education of children in school, for instance, and then educating the dog and learning about all these little signs that the dogs give out that show that they're not comfortable. That would be a minimum that any owner should do.
Right. So if I hear what you're saying is that it really is the human who has to set the dog up for success and completely take responsibility as an owner and find a way to protect not only the people that, it's okay to say, to interrupt a stranger who's, kind of coming up and petting your dog and say, hey, he's not comfortable with that.
That's
and kind
right.
of intervening with that and saying, you have to be the dog's spokesperson. And I just, I hope that people really can appreciate what you're saying about this. And we really appreciate that you wrote this blog, because nobody likes to hear that there are fatalities with dog bites, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, fatalities go both ways. The dogs ultimately get killed.
That's right.
And so this is important not only for our own safety, but also for our dog's sake. We don't want to see the dogs put down because we weren't supervising them properly. Now the child is traumatized and the dog is put down. So for so many reasons, we really have to do a better job with this.
Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to talking about your next blog, which is what?
We're going to talk about how to help the dog feel safe.
Okay. Well, perfect. All right. That's a great follow-up. Thanks so much. This is Take 5 with Jennifer and Amanda, Pet Tutor. Bye-bye.